Welcome to another day. Just looking over our piles of stuff, see what we got left to install and what we can install yet. My day actually started at about, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I went ahead and I put these eyes on these straps. Yeah, I want my straps to be like this boat over here. You know, instead of actually those lines going underneath the trailer, I mean, this gets wet and such when you flush the motors, getting down on your hands and knees in wet dirt. It's no fun. So what I do is I actually put eyes in all my straps and I just attach it to the trailer itself. Little longer to take completely off and completely on, but at the same time, when you're working on a boat like we are in this situation, you only have to do 1 or 2 straps, pull up a corner. It's basically, you've got an inside garage. You know, if it starts to rain or anything, you just flip the top back over and put the two straps back on and you're all set. So that's definitely something we're doing today, even though we've been saying we're going to be doing it for days and days and days. Also got out all the hoses for the gas tank. We're going to try to finish this dog off today. I mean, it's with it completely enclose the system. We'll start right here from the gas cap and the vent itself. Hoses will go all the way down there and enclose that part of the system. Then of course the fuel line comes off here. It's enclosed with a bolt right at the moment, but I do actually have the filter, shut off valve and everything else that will go right there underneath that lip on that wall. And that will enclose the whole fuel system, and it'll be ready literally to put gas in and plug into whatever motor setup we have, if it's electric and or mechanical pump. We're not sure yet with the Gen 5. The only thing left to do is to plug the sender in, which we don't even have a gas gauge at the moment, so won't be plugging the senders in. But we do know what sender it is, and that's a cautionary tale. Don't have the wrong sender in a gas tank and not be able to get it out. Lucky enough, we'd be able to get this one out, but I put a sender in a gas tank for a Donzi. The people shipped the wrong one. I literally had to buy this thing. It was called, it's like an adapter basically between 2 different types of gas gauges. You know, if it's a Chevy gauge and a Chrysler gauge, this thing will actually adapt it so the 2 will work together. But that was a $130 option. I shouldn't even say option, that was $130 of mandatory spending that I had to do to make the gas gauge, because I had a full instrument cluster also. It all matched. And there was no other version of that gas gauge in that matched the actual sender. But I'm going to go ahead and get started, get these lines in, and hopefully that'll be a big accomplishment for today. Alright, another quick wrap up here. We got ahead and got our fill line in all the way up to the fill input itself. Our vent line is also in and actually runs underneath. I wasn't a big fan of that, but I didn't want to run it on top either because I wasn't a big fan of that either. We also have some wiring that's going to run along here yet, and probably a bunch of other things yet, so it's just kind of loosely put together. I ain't going to say that loosely, but I mean, it's got the right hangers and all that good stuff. This would be fine by itself, but like I said, there'll be other things that'll be attached to it at some point in time, I'm sure, if it's just for the sender alone. Then we went ahead over here and we got our fuel system filtered, separator, whatever you want to call it, system in. And it looks like a kind of an unnatural bend. Come on down here in the engine room. Kind of looks like an unnatural bend for that fuel line, but actually it is a natural bend. That is the way it came off the roll. It was towards the end and it had some nice already pre-formed bends in it, and I just used them to my advantage. Nice feature is this is the shutoff. So if you don't know it's there, actually this is a great safety feature. If you don't know it's there, you would never know it's there. So yeah, that's in. And I think now I'm going to go ahead and try to get the top on before it gets dark here. And there we go, just like that. Easy way to finish off an evening. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Welcome to another day where my bow light just came in a few minutes ago. So we're going to go ahead and get that installed. just kind of milling around today, not really sure what I'm going to do. I have some things and I don't have some things. Then I need other things and I don't have them, and I have other things that I don't need. So yeah, it's just turning into a, I need to regroup and figure out what's going on right now, because I'm a little confused. So with our new top installed, all we have to do is give it a little pull back and we're all exposed, ready to go. And on a day that they're threatening rain, and I mean for the next 4 or 5 days straight again, jeez. I guess I live in Seattle now. I don't know. I'm moving all over the country and I'm still in Maryland. It's just amazing. But long story short, it's easy to cover right back up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my light installed, and then we'll figure out where I'm going from here. The light is installed, crimped, double shrink tubed, and then overall shrink tube to cover everything over again. So we're all set there. Just had to show you all, like I was talking about before, about taking out 10,000 things for one little item. I mean, it's this one item. I didn't even have to run the wire. The wire was already sticking out. I have to have out my shrink tube, I have to have out my ends, I have to have out drill bits, I have to have my drill, have to have a heat gun, have to have tools to actually install it, wire snips, just, and now I have to pick up all these pieces and take them all and go put it back away, because we're done with electric for now. So yeah, it gets a little monotonous when you go, okay, I got one item, I gotta pull all these things out, put them all back, pull them all out, put them all back. But yeah, we're done for electric for a little while. Alright, just like that, the day is over. Yeah, it's just so typical lately. I don't even know what to say anymore. We went ahead and put the bow light in, and then we had to go run some errands. One of them actually is race boat related, and that'll be something coming up in the future, hopefully. We don't know yet. Still working. Back to this guy here. Yeah, we did. Actually, I'm going to walk out in here in the rain and try to protect the camera a little bit. We did go ahead and put a bilge pump in. It required a, yeah, let's get a shot over here. It required this bracket to be built. Basically, it's a stainless steel, everything's stainless. That way, it doesn't actually screw to the bottom of the boat, so that's a plus. What else did we do here? We were also working on the battery tray, which will go in the front of the motor box. We were in the process of actually getting this thing fiberglassed up, and we got one layer around, and we have to do another layer on the back side. Yeah, it's just, we're done now. So that's where we're at. There doesn't look like there was a whole lot done on this. But as I showed you earlier with the bow light, it takes everything you have just to get it installed, and then you got to take everything back. Well, that bracket in there was the same way. I had to cut it, had to file it, had to drill it, and you're just looking at like a bilge pump sitting there. So it's yeah, it's these things that are really going to eat up some time. Not only that, but I'm actually running out of really quick bling bling things, which is great, to be honest. I mean, we don't want to just keep putting bling bling things on. We actually want to get to the meat and potatoes here eventually. As for right now, we will see you tomorrow. Hey lifers, welcome to another day. Starting to see some empty boxes here. That's a plus. This guy's coming up real soon. Real soon. And it does need some work, doesn't it? We did break open our 5-gallon pail of US Composites poly resin. And the reason we did is to do our battery tray. And today is the wettest of wettest icky days there ever could be without it actually downpouring on us. It's just so humid out here, you could cut it with a knife. And again, I'm complaining about the weather. It's almost like a daily rant here. But either way, I'm going to go ahead. I need to grind this guy up a little bit, get all my fibers off, go ahead and do the backside here with a layer. Alright, hold on a second, gotta go see what UPS has got. Well, here's a surprise. My new race boat top arrived. I ordered this thing months ago. I mean, it was so long ago that Amazon used to send me notices saying, do you still want this? Well, hell yeah, I still want this. Considering the one I have on the boat now is actually ripped, I think I really do want this. Long story short, I'm very happy my new race boat top came. And now I'll actually be able to take that old one off and get rid of it and get a new one on. But now it's time to get back to work here. And as I said, I need to do do some grinding on this guy and get it ready for another layer of glass. As I was saying before, it is 3/4 inch plywood. It's just going to deal with that. I know it's like, you know, maybe a little borderline on its strength, but it's only 22 inches wide. It's going to have 1, 2, 3, probably 3 layers of glass on it. I think it's going to be fine. So we're okay there. So that's the deal right now. I'm going to go ahead and fool with that for a little while, but it's so darn humid that I don't even expect my resin to go off for like 14 hours or 18 hours. I should go to Home Depot and get some of that other stuff that goes off in like 3 minutes. I'm not even sure what kind of day it's really going to be. It's just going to be a day. We'll just get some things done. It may not even look like we took the cover off, but hey, we're getting things done. Now to get things done. So we sorted through our mess, and we're pretty straight on that. We've got our board out here, which is going to be our battery tray, and it's a little tacky, but still real close. In the meantime, we decided to play around with a 280T Transom Shield, and I gotta say, this is one of the simplest designs that ever came out, and it's one of the reasons I'm sure Volvo stopped making them, because they're just so easy and so simple to work with. And I mean, it's just so simple. I mean, you can use any Volvo Penta drive on this: 250, 270, 280, 290. 290 is a little different because of the fork, but you know, it's easy enough. You could adapt it. I mean, I actually use 270s. When I use the 280T Transom Shield, I don't like the big 280s because they have that big giant exhaust port built into the fin. So I just use 270 drives. Much slimmer, much smaller. Actually, they are the exact same size as a Merc Cruiser O model. Even though everybody thinks they're like 7 times the size, they are not. Especially if you do a little trimming to the case. Back to this guy. As simple as it is, this one is ailing, that is for sure. As you can see, we have a bit of leaking oil, which again, not a big deal. These do come apart, and there's just O-rings inside. Now finding the right O-rings is another question entirely. One of the major issues though is all the trim lines are junk. I mean, they're this bad all over, and they're a bit pricey. The line is nothing, as you can see. What is it, 3 inches long? It's the ends. It's gonna kill me, but I don't have to do that right away. And they need some adaptations done to them anyway, because we're gonna use a Merc Cruiser trim pump, and I'm not even sure if the Rams even move, to be honest. We'll find out. Again, this is how I found the last 3 of them. One came, it was actually full of sand, and I mean everything, all the lines, everything. I don't even know how they got that much sand inside of it, but it was just like falling out everywhere. Cleaned it all out, put some oil in it, put the trim pump to it, worked perfectly. I'm telling you, these things are bulletproof. But I'm saying that knocking on a little wood here, because you know, even a bullet is not bulletproof. So I'm going to go ahead and play around with this a little more. I'm going to strip it down to basically just the shield itself, and see what I need to actually get it installed. The other piece is going to go on later. Like I said, I can get the trim lines made, I can get the Rams rebuilt and cleaned up and all that good stuff, and they can just be added on as we go. So off we go. We got everything cleaned up, took it over in the side yard, used a little Zepp's grill cleaner on it and a scrub brush, and got everything cleaned off. I figured from these blown hydraulic lines is the majority of the oil was coming from. I haven't even tried with these. I'm not even going to fool with them. They may have water in the lines or whatever, because I had to scrub them out real well, and I don't want to pull on them and suck the water into the cylinder or anything. I need to get the lines off and all that good stuff. Then I'm going to squirt probably some transmission fluid fix in there. Yeah, it's an old farmer's trick, because all it is rubber seals in there. The transmission fluid fix, that's all it does. It plumps up seals, and rubber seals is its forte. So I've used it for all kinds of like unreplaceable gaskets and stuff like that. It's so much easier. You just leave it sit in it overnight and you're good to go. I'll probably fill each one of them with this stuff, just leave them sit there. As I said, that's all cleaned up, and that's essentially what a 280T is these 2 Rams and this kind of giant cast piece. Because as you can see, and with pride, I can say that the Transom Shield is actually in place. No, it is not there permanently. I just wanted to make sure it fit, and no, it did not. It was definitely a bit of a challenge. As you can see, we have dust everywhere, so we've been out with a grinder. And yeah, about an hour's worth of alterations, tiny little things here and there, here and there, here and there. Put it in. Oh, that one rubs. Oh, get the Dremel out. Move that little bolt, that little trim line that goes through the transom. Give that tiny little bit of relief. Move this that way. But I've got my 4 bolts, or had my 4 bolts in each corner here, but seems to have a couple of them out now. But as long as that's the case, then, you know, everywhere else it'll have to adapt to those 4 corners, because that's where it's supposed to be. And my thinking is that it's been so humid out today. I mean, everything is still soaking wet, and sun's been out a couple times. I went ahead and I painted the back of my tray there, my battery tray, thinking that, you know, it'll only take 20-30 minutes to go off. Well, it took an hour to go off, and it's still a tiny bit tacky, and I wanted to do the bottom side just to get it, you know, painted, so because you're not going to paint it when it's actually in the boat. And one of the reasons I'm actually working on that whole transom shield and the mess that goes with it is because I knew I had to grind out some spots. I got to set the actual board, and then after that sets up for a little while, I'll go ahead and I'll glass it all in place. It should be as solid as one of the motor mounts. But I knew I had some grinding to do there, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to make sure the transom shield fits, so if I have to do some grinding here, which of course I did. So now I even have a little bit of glass that I want to finish up around the edges of the transom shield, because I did have to get into it a little bit till I'm down to wood again. And that's all going to be at the same time I'm doing the battery tray, so it's kind of working out. Next, the transom shield will actually need to be taken off, and there's like 3 or 4 plates I got to make, or at least 2 or 3. I know everything has to be reversed. They have everything coming in on the wrong sides and such like that. And taking these things apart, you know, it was usually a bit of a challenge, but this one was quite easy. If I would have used it like it was, it probably leaked all over the place. It was that easy. So we got to block off everything, just because nothing else gets used on the Volvo drive except for the drive itself for me. Bottom water pickups in the bottom of the boat, the exhaust is through hull. So everything has to be blocked off and sealed up. It's pretty clean now. Like I said, it looks like hell, to be honest, because of the fact that it's missing like all its paint. I'm not really sure how that came about, but one way or another, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint my deck plate again, and I got a lot of cleaning up to do, just to get everything put away before it gets dark here. And we'll be back at it again tomorrow. See ya. Welcome to another day. It's a bit of a scary one today. We have the sun out, but the wind is blowing, and they are calling for flash floods. But not only flash floods, but severe flash floods. And they will be doing that all the way through until tomorrow. Yeah, they pretty much think that the end of the world is coming to us. So I'm going to go ahead and get my battery tray installed before the torrential downpours come. And along with that, I guess I'm going to work a little bit on this transom shield, because it's really kind of the next thing that's happening. This has to be a freshwater transom shield. I mean, there is no corrosion, no rot anywhere. It's just dry rotted from sitting around too long. We've also noticed a couple things about the transom shield itself, which is a bit odd. Now, the Rams on them have 1984. I don't know. I mean, it's like 484 or something like that. I'm not sure if that's actually a date or not. But if this came from the 80s, it really kind of perplexes me, because this here is for a tilt motor, and yet they drilled it out and they actually had to put a cap on it. That really doesn't make much sense when you're talking about a 280T transom shield, because they don't use the tilt motors. So that's a little odd in its own sense. And there's a few other things, but as I said, we're going to go ahead and get some pieces made for this guy. I already gone ahead and made a couple patterns here. This one goes here. This one goes up here. I think there's another one around here somewhere. Actually, that's just a regular plug. So we'll be able to do that by itself. Long story short, I got to make some pieces for this guy out of that chunk of aluminum sitting over there. I sure do miss my metals to go that was in Glen Burnie, which was only about 10 miles from me. Now I have to actually order everything online or get it from elsewhere. So that's what we got there. We're going to have to make a couple pieces here. So basically the whole deal is fiberglassing and metal. go ahead and get started now. Alright, so we have our board in. I just wanted to show you. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, look at all that fiber. The cabosil is in there just to hold the fiber intact so it doesn't like drool all down inside the bilge until it sets up. But I mean, there's a ton of fiber in there, and that's the way I smash them in place. So now it's literally fiberglassed to the deck. After it sets up, we'll go ahead and do a real quick sanding to make sure we knock all our fibers off, and then put a few layers of something on it to hold it down. And we'll call that a done deal. Now here's a side of our shop you don't get to see very often. It's our cutting room, grinding room, you know, things we don't actually want in our clean space. So we got our aluminum plates made for our drive shield, and I made them out of the same aluminum plate that I used for the Beezy's rudder plate and whip strut plate. It's supposed to be semi-corrosion resistant, blah 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 blah. It's supposed to be one of the better ones. I paid extra for it. How's that? Who knows what it really is. But I've got them cut out. They're a bit hot right now. I got to go get some holes drilled in them, and then we can get them mounted to the shield. And from there, it's getting real close to getting ready to paint it, which that's a big plus. All right, it really doesn't have a clue what it wants to do out here today. 25 minutes ago, it was raining. Since then, the sun has been out. Then we've gone to drastic clouds, and then the sun has come out again. And also, the temperature is weird too. It was hot, and then it went cool for like, I don't know, half hour, and now it's hot again. But it's really screwing with my fiberglassing here. But either way, I got a couple layers of 1708 after I smashed my board in place, so it should be locked down for life. We also went ahead and finished up our transom shield cut out where it got into a little bit of the raw wood. It was only two little small spaces, but we went ahead and fiberglassed them up, let them kick off. And of course, later on we'll have to do some painting if it's not raining. And we also are working on our transom shield here. I gotta tell you, when they come out of the factory, they just throw them out the door. This guy was really rough around the edges. I don't know what was going on with that, but I mean, it was factory rough. You could just feel it was just the factory just never really took the extra 10 seconds to go ahead with over it with a disc grinder and knock that edge off, but I did. And as I said, our plates are already made. I'm just trying to finish up every little thing I can before I go ahead and mount the plates up, because right after that it's going to get painted. And of course today is not a good painting day, so we'll see how this all works out. Yeah, this is all of like 5 minutes later. The sun was out. It actually still may be out in my backyard. Not really sure, but this kind of puts a damper on things. At least the fiberglass is done and it's undercover, so that's okay. We'll have to work in the garage and see what we can get into. Well, even though it was pouring just a matter of an hour or two ago, yeah, it's bright sunshine, and I'll tell you, that's about the 6th time today it's done that. I mean, just bright sunshine, everything clouds up, and then it just downpours. And I mean downpours. But since we got the sunshine, we're taking advantage of it. So we went ahead and we got our transom shield, all the pieces put on it where it needs to be, everything taped up. And we did the back side today. It's kind of impossible to do both sides at one time. So it just made sense to do the back side today, get everything all sealed up. That way we can flip it over on its back tomorrow and we'll do the front side. Along with that, we also went ahead and painted around our transom shield after we fixed all the areas that were exposed. And we got a couple coats on our battery tray down there. Probably isn't the last. Just usually with raw fiberglass, it ends up taking about 3 coats to actually get it to be 100% covered. It's about 95 now. If I was putting the motor in tonight, I'd be not even thinking about it. So, but since I already had the paint, you know, what the hell, just go ahead and do it anyway while everything is out of the way. I really should have thought of this like weeks and weeks ago, but I don't know, I was just holding off on it because things didn't look right, didn't look right. And they actually are all right, so I don't know what I was kind of worried about, but you know, you just look at things so long, you start to see things wrong with it even when there's not. So, but that's where it should be, and it should be fine for a couple batteries. And with that, I need to make a trip to the depot, so we're going to call it an evening, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Welcome to another day of raceboat life, where we have big ones, we have little ones, we have offshore, we have on the lake, we even have the largest outboard that Maryland will allow while not paying for registration on our John boat. Yes, we're just holding off on the 19 over there for a little while we do this. We got a couple dirty boats and we got some brand new tops that need to go on them. Those two don't combo in my world, so we had to clean everything that we've got inside and out, especially this guy here. It tended to want to get a little moldy inside, but it's no longer. That Zepp's mold and mildew remover really works its magic, I'm telling you. But just be careful you don't get stuck underneath of a little tiny bow with an aerosol. That's why I actually use that pump sprayer now. It's not so aerosol-y as the little mister things are. That's what I use now, and you can just kind of like use it like a hose more than it's aerosoled, you know. So, but it still gets kind of fumey under there, let me tell you. So, but my little Beezy's all cleaned up. She needs some help. We had intentions on doing this year, but things got sidetracked due to another, we'll just leave nameless. But it's not so bad. I just had some minor things I wanted to mess with this year, like some of the white paint. Like if you look real close, you'll start to see just tiny little spider cracks. Yeah, I just wanted to take care of that. And that's one of the things I was saying about, this is the first real redo, remodel, whatever of it, and probably about 35 years it sat in the weeds of Pennsylvania. So I expected some stuff to come back. You know, it's been about 8 or 9 years since I've done this also, so you know, it's a 65-year-old boat, stuff happens. And of course we have the beast, SuperNova 24. Oh boy, yeah, that's a lot of cleaning there, but she's all spick and span and ready to go too. It was amazing on how clean it was inside. I got this paint from Home Depot. It was in their oops rack. It's pretty blue. I mean, I'll show you all a picture here. But yeah, it was like, I don't know, $10 a can. So I got like 5 cans of this stuff, and it was garage floor paint. Well, I did the whole boat in it, and it never gets any mold. I mean, nothing ever. It's amazing. I just don't understand it. I really wish I could have actually done that on everything, but just leaving them sit out here and air dry for a little while before I put the tops on. But it's not supposed to rain, so we're trying to hold off as long as possible. And of course, there's always something going on with this guy. As I said, something every day. And what we are working on right now is the Transom Shield. We got the outside all taped up, and we now have 3 layers of paint on. I also went to Depot last night and retrieved myself some nice 1/2-inch carriage bolts there. Got all them painted up and ready to go. This guy should be ready to install here soon. Just taking my time, there's no reason to rush, and moving steadily forward. We will be ready to install that hopefully tomorrow. We'll see. But for now I need to grab some boat tops, and there's another one over there, and that gets them out of the garage. I mean, that's another couple boxes out of the garage, which is this is a good week for this stuff, because I'm telling you, I'm just emptying things left and right, and that's a good thing. Next, hopefully we'll be seeing a motor come out of here, and a out drive from over there, and a whole bunch of things. That's why I have this whole series, Raceboat Life, quote unquote. It is a series about owning a couple race boats that I may or may not deserve to own. I mean, at the same time, I did buy this boat for $400. Yeah, 400 bucks. But of course, it was a shadow of what it is now. I'm not going to tell you how much I spent for that. The owner knew exactly what it was and what it was worth. And he got his money, that's for sure. And I don't say it begrudgingly, because I'd do it again to this minute. So, but it took a number of years to get this put back together. And I mean a number of years. Matter of fact, even though it has K Kiefer 482 offshore race motors in it now, it actually used to have this 454 in it. It had two of them. One's actually going to end up in 19 over here. See, it all interlinks somehow, doesn't it? But it's been a challenge. It's been fun. It's been a lot of things. But it's something that everyone could do if they wanted to. I mean, I know an old boat project looks insane, but you know, if you follow along with the 19 project, you can see that I'm doing these things. You just have to stay committed through the crappy stuff that goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks. But if you just stay committed, you can have one of these boats easy. I mean, I've had this one, I've had that one, I've had the one next to it, and I've had the one next to it now. And a whole slew of other ones. And I know I'm a little obsessed, but for a person to do just one, and take maybe twice as long as I'm doing, it's not that hard, especially if you're mechanically inclined. I mean, with fiberglass, you screw it up, it's like drywall. You just do it again, and just accept the reservation that it's not going to be perfect. As I said, these boats are ancient. This one's 60 plus years old. That one's 50 plus years old. They're going to have their little bumps and bangs. And things are going to appear that you've never seen before. As I said, the BZ has things showing up on it. I've never seen them before. I don't remember working on them, and I have film, or at least pictures, of actually doing these projects, and I look back and it's like, there was never a problem there. Why is there a problem now? But long story short, don't sell yourself short. These projects are easily had. And I mean, you can have some really cool looking classic old boats, and I know there's a lot of race boats for sale. I mean, every one of them isn't like Richard Petty's Daytona winning 500 car or something like that, but this one was in the race. And what I mean by that, it was in the Daytona race of offshore racing, basically, the Bahamas 500. I mean, I actually have film of it. Dun, 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 skipping along. I mean, from 1960s, I mean, it's just insane. I was an infant. I mean, an infant. Like, not even a year old when this thing was racing. And here it is sitting in my yard. So, but again, if you're going to make the commitment, don't fail. Because if you do, you're going to have yard art, and you're going to hate that. But what I have to do is not fail to get these things covered up before it does rain. And that's not going to happen right away, but I do have two of them to get on, and they are new, so there may be some alterations and such that I may have to worry about. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to leave you guys till tomorrow. See ya. But so what I do is, my hoses will go to that. That'll stop that. And see if I don't fall off the trailer here. Yeah, there we go. And I literally have to take all these, literally. At least the new bow top's working well. Stuff I have to take out to do this. One little light. Put my hand in front of it so you don't get to see any of it. Alright, one more time. There we are, raining again. I don't know what to do about this. There's nothing I can do. We went ahead and we already got our layer. Nah. But back to this good guy right here. Good guy. One more time. Yep, we got UPS here, and he's probably not for me. Nope, not for me. Well, yep, he's for me. So it's going to be a bit of a weird day. Now, were, as, when, how, ass. Wrap up video. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop this.